Welcome everyone to this webinar together with CDL, Collège du Léman. My name is Beate Katrine Mo, and I'm hosting this together with Jacob, Fiona, and Michelle. Welcome, guys. I know that we have met each other before, so I know that when we talked together the first time, I asked you, so what is so special with itslearning? And you, Jacob, said to me that itslearning is the glue that holds everything together. So before you are going to explain to the audience what you mean about this, just some practical information to the listeners. So we have both a chat place and also a question mark. So if you have any questions or anything at all, just pop it into the questions and we will have a look at those after the presentation. So again, welcome to all listeners and welcome to, especially to Jacob, Michelle, and Fiona. Jacob, please present yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jacob Roche. I'm the head of education technology at Collège du Léman. So I'm responsible for all of the educational technology platforms at CDL. itslearning is one of them. And BK, like you said, it's the glue that holds everything together for us. So I do have some slides for us here. And this is our vision. And when rolling out itslearning back in 2019, we came up with a vision. And our vision was that we wanted itslearning to be a centralized place for planning courses, sharing digital resources with students and colleagues, tracking assessment records, our mark book or grade book, and then communicating with students, colleagues, and parents. Now, the hard thing about that is no one remembers that is our vision. So we came up with a much simpler vision, which is this. The three-word vision, as I like to call it, and that is it's on itslearning. So, and we hear this all the time at CDL, don't we, Michelle and Fiona?
We do, yeah.
You know, whether teachers, they're in the staff room and colleagues say, hey, where's that PowerPoint? Oh, it's on itslearning. A student says, I can't find where the homework is. Teacher says, it's on itslearning. And then my favorite is when a student sees another student and the student says, I don't know how to review for the test. And the student says, it's on itslearning.
It's on itslearning.
So we hear this vision all the time, and it's mostly accidental. I don't know if people know that's our vision, but that certainly is our vision.
I didn't.
You didn't? Well, you do now.
I do now.
But you hear that all the time, right?
All the time.
So it's on itslearning is our three-word vision that we've come up with. And then, of course, the parents. So one of the nice things about having all of our resources and homework and grades on itslearning is it's one place for parents to go. And there is a parent app. So they download that to their phone. And here they can see the information about the teacher, upcoming assessments, the assessment record, the grade students have. And then, you know, quite uniquely for a learning management system is they can see all the course materials. So they can go in and take a look. Now, we encourage parents not to, because we say that's your child's job to go in and take a look. But it's reassuring for the parents to know that there are these wonderful resources that you know, their students have access, their children have access to, that they can go and look at as well. Okay. From an administrative point of view, because I'm in charge of itslearning, and you know, we have a lot of teachers. You know, we have we have 250 teachers at Collège du Léman. Is one of the things that teachers find frustrating is when they come to a new school and they don't know where the resources are. Now with itslearning, all the resources are in the same place. And you can see in this background, these are called course cards. So all of these represent different courses. And we have thousands of these. And I have access to all of them. So I can go into any course and assist a teacher. I can add a teacher to an old course. So if they're new to the school, I can say, oh, do you want to see what the teacher last year did? And I can add them as a teacher and they can see all the resources that the teacher had before. So one of the things that's really nice about itslearning is everything is available. We can go back and find any course, current or past, so we can build on it and improve. The last thing I'll show you is our usage data. From an administrative perspective, we have access to really great data, and this is probably the most basic data. It's the number of logins, and the dark blue bar that you're seeing, that's the number of student logins, and we can see that's gone up from 2020 all the way to 2024. Well, and then if you're looking at 2025 and say what's going on there, the data runs from January to January. So we've got all of back to school next year to improve our logins. And from a teacher perspective, you can see that green bar on top there. That's the number of logins for teachers. And that's remained somewhat consistent. And the reason I like it that way is it means that teachers aren't putting in more work. They've built these courses. Maybe they built a course in 2022, and then in 2023, they just need to make some minor changes. And then in 2024, another teacher starts teaching that course and they have to make minor changes. But in terms of teacher workload, I'm hoping itslearning actually saves them time than costs them time, especially if they put in the work into their courses early. So that's pretty much us from an administrative point of view. BK, do you have any questions about that?
Yes, I do actually, because you're a head of educational technology at your college. And before you started to use the LMS, what kind of discussions did you have on beforehand to be able to say what you're saying today, that it's on itslearning? Was this something that you really wanted to achieve, to be able to say to the students that this is where you find everything? Was this a part of your strategy?
Yeah, the leadership of the school really wanted to have everything in one place. We were very into Apple technology. We were very digital from early on. We're an early one-to-one iPad school. We're an Apple distinguished school. And we had teachers doing wonderful things, but it was all just a bit disconnected. One teacher was using one thing while another teacher was using another thing. And the principal said, it's impossible to find what's going on. And so that was, one of our major criteria. Is there a platform that can bring everything together? And so that's what we decided on itslearning. We liked the fact it was built for K-12, opposed to other large learning management systems, which feel more like they're for a university than secondary education.
And will you also say that this has been positive when it comes for the students' learning environments?
Yeah, the students, they know where the information is, right? They might not always be the best at finding it, but they know which platform to go to look. So so I think it's been very positive for the students, as well as the fact that our mark book is also in the same place where the resources are. And you'll see examples of, how teachers create assignments and it goes directly to the gradebook, or tests and it goes directly to the gradebook. Saves teachers time, and it also saves students time.
Perfect. So let us see some examples, because you have two brilliant colleagues with you, Michelle and Fiona. Welcome to the two of you too. A few words about yourself before you show us some great examples, because they are really, because I've seen the examples before, and you're going to be amazed. It's really good.
So we're going to take Fiona first, and here we are. And Fiona, why don't you just jump into your course and get started, please?
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Fiona, and I've been using itslearning for 3 years now. I'm a French teacher, and I want to show you my grade 11 course. That's right here. Are we on the right screen?
Are you sharing now?
Yeah, we're sharing.
Is this one, right?
Yeah.
Share. Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
So let's go back. Yes.
There we go.
So this is my grade 11 course. And that's what the students see when they land on the course. So I'm just going to switch to student view. So that's what they see. So they can immediately see where we're at and what we're doing which day. So for example, this week we are working on these two things. And so they can just click on the correct plan and they have the resources they need. So that's the first thing. Now, what I want to show you is how the course is structured, because itslearning I use it as a very personalized textbook. Here in topics, I have all my units. That's how I organize the course. So for each unit, you can see the time span. So students they know immediately when we're doing what, and if they need to go back to one unit, it's very easy for them because they just have to go to topic and click on the right one. I think it's also very useful for students who join the class throughout the year, because they don't know where we're at. So they know, oh, okay, since August, they have been doing this. And if they arrived in January, as it is often the case, they know they have to start from here. But if they need to go back to the previous material, it's all here. Now, if we go into one unit, for example, this one, Unit 4, you can see these, let's call them sub-chapters or lessons. They are plans. That's what it's called on itslearning. They are plans. So I create a plan for each sub-chapter, and I use this numbering system. And that's very easy for students, again, to know what they have to study or where they have to go. I can just tell them, okay, today we're doing section 4.1, and they know immediately where to go. Now let's go into one plan or one subchapter. Here, again, you have new sections for each part of the lesson that I want to work on. So, for example, here you have this plan, this one, and this one. And in between, you have formative quizzes. And at the end, you can see the summative quiz. So students would click on the first section. And what I like is that there's a sidebar where they can see their progress. So they don't have to click like 50 times to go back. They can just go through the course like this. And I think that's very, very useful for them. Here, I created a page for this lesson. It's on conjugation. And I have put several resources. So here it's, let's say, a traditional lesson with written stuff. I have added pictures here. I have added another picture, also a video, and online exercises. Here I have added an extension, and when students are done with this, they can just move to the next thing, which is the formative quiz, and they keep going. I have used this structure for classes that can work a bit more independently. So grade 11 is, I think they like to work, they like to have the feeling that they're free and they can just go their own pace. But they have the deadline for the summative, so they know they have to be finished with this by this date. And then they can go their own pace. And I am more available for them because I can just walk in the classroom and help students individually. So for that reason, I think itslearning has been really useful for me. Let's see what else. Yeah, there's something that does not appear here, but you can also add audios into the pages. Maybe I can find, it's here. Let me show you. In this section here, that's another conjugation lesson. And here I have added an audio so students can listen and learn how to pronounce these words. It's like a textbook, a very personalized textbook, but also it has more features like the audios or the videos that I showed you before.
And very including for all the pupils.
Exactly. I think with this type of structure, you can really help all types of learners, the ones that are more visual, the ones that need to listen, the one that needs to have more explanation. For example, I will explain the lesson, but then maybe they will need to watch a video to reinforce the concept. So that's very, very helpful in that way. Then let's go back to this lesson. I was talking earlier about the quizzes, the formative quizzes. Thanks to itslearning, I have not graded a single formative quiz this year. So that has been really, really useful. I'm going to show you from the teacher's view what it looks like. Let's switch again. No, I have to close it here. Yeah. So back to topic, unit 4. So I assign formative quizzes on itslearning, and the great thing is that it is automatically corrected by itslearning, and it goes into the gradebook without me doing anything, which is great. So I would create this this quiz. I can set a deadline. I can set it has homework. I can choose if I want it to be a formative or a summative, but I use it only for formatives. I love this feature because I can choose how many attempts I want to give the students. Usually I give 2 or more because they love redoing the test until they get 100%. So it's a good way for them to practice without me having to push them.
So they actually being more motivated of you giving them more alternatives.
Exactly. They feel like they have more chances. So they usually take it 3, 4, 5 times. So that's great. That's very positive. And here you can also choose if you want them to see the correct answers or not. So it's very, very personalized. You can really choose what you want your students to see or not. Here you create the questions. I like that there are several features. There are multiple choice, true or false, matching, ordering. There's so many features that you have for the quizzes. And then you can see the results. So here at a glance, you can see who took the test and who didn't. You can see their grade. You can see the average. So it's very quick. And again, it goes automatically into the grade book. So
and just for
if
the
I
audience,
go,
should we just emphasize that these are just dummy data, so we are not breaching any personalization of the students.
Exactly. So if I go to the gradebook real quick, again, I can see at a glance if a student did it or not. Well, here, everybody did it.
Except the
except this one, yes.
Which is really me taking these quizzes, so you know how good my French level is now.
Jacob has been really busy being a bad student.
So this year, I've really tried to use itslearning to my advantage and as an asset. And next year, I will have the same class, and all I will have to do is to copy and paste this course, and everything will be there. All I will have to change is the dates, and that's it. All the quizzes, the resources, everything will be in the new course.
And I just have to ask you then, because when you do this, when you copy paste for the next year, and I'm so glad to hear that you actually do that, because that one is the best thing as a teacher myself. I love to use this learning for. But how do you find it when you have copied? Do you have to edit a lot, or
Not
is
at
it
all.
like you? No.
No, all I have to edit is the dates, because of course the dates will be a bit different. But there's nothing else I have to change. And of course, if I want to add something more, I can. It's not fixed. So I think it's a great feature. It really saves me time.
And how much do you find yourself editing, aside from the diet, or add more resources? Do you normally add more resources, or?
It depends. It depends how fast the class is compared to the year before, or maybe we go slower. But what I can do is just, for example, if last year I did more and this year I did less, I will just hide some of the chapters or resources that I put. I don't have to actually delete it. I can just copy and paste and then make it invisible.
Thank you. Interesting, Fiona.
All right. Well, next we have Michelle, who is a science teacher here at CDL, and she's gonna take us through her science course.
Hello, Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I've been working with its learning for just over a year now, so I feel quite new to this. So you will see my structure looks slightly different, but it's okay. I feel like everybody has their own interpretation thereof as well. So I've taken you into my grade 6 science course to show you that here I have uploaded the digital form of the textbook for them. So if they go into this plan, they can open this PDF document and they have access to our digital textbook. They also have the hard copies with them. And this is a little bit about like how I structured my plans. But I think I'm going to share more along the lines of the communication and where I use itslearning to communicate instantly with my students. So one way in which I do this is, let's say I've got a cover lesson because I'm doing a itslearning webinar and I need to set some work real quick. Then I can scroll down here to announcements. And so here's an example of what I made earlier. I can give a little task. What do you see? What does it make you wonder? And then I can directly embed a link, which if they click on it, takes them to this really cool interactive activity. There we go. So the ability for me to be able to link activities like this directly into itslearning for them means they don't have to go look for it. They don't have to follow a long trail of breadcrumbs, but they kind of directly have access to it and then can follow instructions and play around with that. Can we go back to the...
Yeah, let's go back to the course. Okay.
So that's one way in which I use the announcements to communicate with students. If it's something that wasn't necessarily planned a long time ahead, but just in the moment because I need a quick turnaround, or possibly in the middle of the lesson when I see they struggle with a concept, I might add an additional resource in there for them. And it means it's really quick and easy for them to find. The other way I kind of communicate with them is by using this message function over here. Now, I think I found a different way because I want to make sure that none of my real students show up here. So you can communicate with students by clicking up here in this little message box. And as you can see, I've got 5 messages waiting for me, for my students. But I can also go into participants and send a message from here. And that kind of takes me to this little chat function when I can directly speak to the students. And that sends a message to her directly. I can also have a group chat function here. So for example, tomorrow we have our grade 6 science fair. And just to make sure that everybody knows what's going on, I use this message function to remind them that they need to be in the auditorium at a certain time and kind of give them the information just one last time in case they get lost on the day. They will know that the message is on itslearning, so they know where to find it.
So engaging your students through messaging. Yeah. That's nice.
Exactly. And then another way in which we kind of go about school here, maybe this is obviously fake data. Clearly, Lisa's outperforming Bart here. But another thing I do is to ask students to directly upload their assignments to itslearning. And if you like, I can show you, kind of walk you through as to how I do that.
Yeah, show us an assignment, please.
So let's say I've got here, let's just go into a plan. I want to add an assignment. I click here and I click create new. And I might say a cell project, just for argument's sake. I can set a specific date here with a specific time. I can link to make sure it's an activity that's homework. And this means it shows up in their calendar and it will flag it for them and kind of remind them as it's on the calendar. I can choose the assessment scale, the semester it goes into, the category, whether it's peer or self-assessed, whether the results are immediately visible to students, whether they can submit it as groups where I create it or the students create it themselves. And I can even activate control for plagiarism. And so here I'll typically type my message to say they need to upload their documents here, and then I create the assignment. And so from a student view, if they then click on their cell project, they can answer the assignment here, and they can simply drag or drop or upload their files from their Google Drive or their OneDrive here. And once that's uploaded, they can submit their assignment. And so if I go back to teacher view, if I then go into my report card, my assessment record, their cell projects will show up here as this little document. And if I open that cell project, I can see an image here, for example, of a cell that's made up of
And you can show the grades.
Legos. And on the side here, I can grade it. I can type or voice record some feedback for Lisa and then save the assessment. And that feedback should go back to Lisa. And just if you're curious, here's Bart's. Really impressive. Clearly, I was a bit harsh on him.
Good for Bart.
Good for Bart.
I mean, oh, wow.
Good for him. Yeah. I think I might have to level up his effort levels there. And so it's a really nice way for me to collect work that's not a bunch of papers that's stacking up in my arm, or several big cell projects that I need to take home or to a different room to actually assess it. It's all here in one place for me. So it makes that a little bit easier for me to communicate and give back feedback.
So it gives you, as a teacher, a really good overview of your different student works.
Exactly.
Ah, interesting.
That's all for me.
Michelle. I was just wondering, because I have a couple of questions, and we have now seen some of the good tips that you guys have, and we've heard some of the different aspect of school leaders and what do we need to think of when we are talking about an LMS. But we also know that there are some challenges when we're implementing an LMS. Did you meet or came across any challenges when you were implementing itslearning for a couple of years back? Oh, you are muted, Jacob.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. It's always a challenge to, standardize, what's happening in its learning. And it's something that we've always had to work to. It's teacher autonomy versus, rigid structures. And I think we have found a balance between allowing teachers a certain amount of creativity within the platform, whether they want to use announcements or we have some teachers that organize by weeks. So each one of those plans is a different week. And we have some teachers that organize by unit. And for us, that's okay because it's all in the same place. And just like how a student walks into a different classroom and there's a new set of routines and expectations in that classroom, the same is true in the, in our It's Learning space. Like the students are expected to go to It's Learning to find their information. Is it all the same in every single course? No, but we know it's all there in some way. And then teachers share best practices between each other. Fiona, I remember you saying the other day, you learned from a teacher that you should number 4.1, 4.2. Yeah. And as soon as you saw that, you said, great, I'm going to do that too. And so I think in a really healthy way, teachers have kind of started to structure their courses in similar ways.
Great. And also there's a question about collaboration, because we know that we're talking about the 21st century skills and all these things that we can pick up on the educational society global, actually. But how do you find collaboration within your college? Is it easy with this learning, or just tell us a little bit about how you collaborate across with students or maybe teacher to teacher, and yeah.
Okay, I'll just go very quick, and then Fiona, if you want to pick up on how you do it, actually.
Yes. So in the French department, we create master plans on It's Learning. So it's kind of a hidden course that students don't see. But for example, if next year I will be taking over a class that I don't have this year, I will be added to the master plan of that class, and I will just have to again copy and paste what is in there. So that's how we collaborate, and we keep adding resources in the courses we have, so that next year the teacher who will take over that class will just have to like take the resources that they want.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we call them MPCs, master planning courses, and teachers just, at the end of the year, you probably have a department meeting where
Yeah.
you add, all your stuff into these master planning courses. And as a new person that I often see a teacher when they arrive, I am one of the first people to show them itslearning. And that's where we usually start with the master plan course. And they see, what the other teachers, so for example, in biology, Michelle, you're probably not the only biology teacher. So you all kind of work from the same course, and then they can copy and then adapt.
Yeah, so I'm one of 5 biology teachers in the high school, and not a single one of us come from the same country, and I absolutely love that. And so we each have a little different filter and approach as to how we approach the subject, but we have the curriculum content and guidance as a core. And so each of us will, throughout the year, add or tweak our master plans. And then starting fresh the next year, whoever is in charge of that course will kind of, again, fine tune it. To the point where when I arrived a year ago, the course was all set up, and my colleague Z from China is just showing me like how to work with itslearning during our meetings, and kind of helping make sure that all the classes I have the correct kind of setup and date and etc. And so actually working with her and collaborating with her on this itslearning plan meant that going into my second year, that I was much more confident in starting up my own classes and using the master planning courses and kind of pinching things from there.
And both interesting and impressive, to be honest. So everything is planned down to the details. That's good to know. I just have to quickly comment that there is a question about plans, that you can copy them without dates, and that there is some issues with the test. I'll copy your email and I pop you an email about it because it sounds like a bug. So let me try and fix it, because you should be able to copy without any days at all, also including tests. So we'll fix that. One more question, and maybe you partly answered it already when Jacob was talking about new employees, but how about new pupils or students? If they have never seen itslearning before, how do you start up with the younger students?
So our students that start using itslearning for the first time, they start using kind of all our platforms at the same time. And in grade 6, Bill 6 Cesium, we have a technology summit, we call it, where we take the students up into the auditorium and we have them do a series of activities. Anything in itslearning, for example, the things we do in itslearning is like, we'll create an assignment and it'll be like, tell us your name, one thing you enjoy, and a class you're really excited about taking. They have to submit that assignment. So it's a really low cognitive load for them. So, they're not worried about the content, but they're learning how to use the systems. Also, when I walk by classrooms, I don't usually, well, sometimes I see PowerPoints up, but oftentimes I see teachers just projecting itslearning on the wall and using that to teach from. Like, Fiona's great page that you saw there, she would just have that up instead of a PowerPoint of the different types of verbs or something. So the students are seeing itslearning is being taught to them, as the teacher is going. So they learn just because they see it all the time.
And I've also noticed that, for example, we have a lot of students that start halfway through the year because of other schools' kind of academic calendar. And so when they come in, we, especially the younger ones, we buddy them up with a member within the class. And it's often those students that will come alongside them and say, okay, we use itslearning, it's all on itslearning. And they kind of teach them kind of how to work through the system. And often it's the students and their buddy that helps troubleshoot that initial stretch phase of of learning a new platform.
Interesting. I really like the collaboration view of it, and also that, you know, when you're new at the school as well, to have sort of a study buddy that way as well. It's really good. It's really interesting. Thanks for sharing. There isn't any more questions in the chat, but if there's anything else Michelle or Fiona or Jacob would like to add, if not, let me have a check if there is any new ones. No, not any more questions. Then I would say thank you for sharing, Jacob, Fiona, and Michelle, and for showing us these really, really good examples. I love them the first time you showed me, and I'm still impressed about the use. And we have copied your saying, "It's honest learning." So thank you for sharing.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
And thanks to all the listeners.